Hi everyone, my name's Charlie Veitch. We're here at the Faculty of Arts at Manchester University. This is a very impressive square I'm in, and you're getting a two-dimensional, one-sided view. And the reason why I'm in front of the Faculty of Arts, it's not only because it reminds me of the main building in Back to the Future. Go on, Marty! It's because I want to talk a little bit about life, about the premises we have, and some of the terms that I've been using a lot recently, the main one being free speech. I want to explore how perhaps our premises are incorrect. And before I forget, let me just say, I recently took part in a film. I was interviewed and put in the film by a filmmaker called Tarquin Ramsey. He did an incredible documentary about free speech and the importance of it called Free Speech, Fear Free, I believe. And he gave me a rough copy. I couldn't attend the premiere in London. Anyway, Tarquin Ramsey, check him out online. Amazing film. Not just because I'm in it. Free speech then, okay. The very words free speech implies that there is unfree speech. It implies that perhaps there are things that you cannot say. And the premise, what we're assuming there, the assumption, is that we are merely citizens in a governmental type control grid. And not to sound too conspiratorial, not to sound tinfoil hatty, but even independent research, it's in all the mainstream press, will say that the greatest democracy on earth, the United States, is an oligarchy. We have scandals coming out today that Scotland Yard, the detective agency of the British police, is being investigated for some very serious child abuse cover-ups where very prominent politicians, prominent people in the aristocracy were, how do I put this bluntly, fucking children. And the police, because like many people who are not very confident about themselves. I tap my chest, but I'm wearing a radio mic. When you're not very confident about what you are, who you are, you will go towards the safest option. And for a policeman, that is his paycheck. That is his promotion. That is not angering the chief inspector, the sergeants, you know? And so when you get told to come off a investigation because it's a matter of national security, you'll do as you're told. I've done a few videos about a detective that I've named the True Detective. He shall remain nameless. We'll call him Jay. And he was a child abuse cop. And when I was being arrested for the royal wedding, you know, Kate and William, I spent a good 8 hours with a detective that worked on child abuse investigations. And I trusted him. I had no reason to not trust him. He made everything easier for me during my incarceration by the establishment and released without charge. I thought I'd add that. If you want to see the video, it's called Charlie Veitch Royal Arrest, The Purge. And he was so angered by being pulled off child abuse investigations that he quit child abuse and went into general detective work, I guess, where he wouldn't have to deal with the idea of powerful men abusing their power and having the Roman centurions of the modern age, i.e. the police, not chase them up. So good for him. Tangent, let's come back. Free speech. Who are you? What are you? What are you saying? What are you doing? Are you smoking a joint? Are you walking down the street naked? Are you trying to megaphone a royal wedding by people who were born out of a royal vagina, making them better than you with blue blood? If you cut them, it's blue, it's bright blue. A cerulean display of, a cerulean peacock of blood would come out of them, to paraphrase Bill Hicks. Or not. But basically what I'm trying to say is, some people think you're not free, much like the lions in the savannas of Africa don't consider their prey, the wildebeest, the antelope, the gazelles, as free. They consider them food. And what control freaks, people who like bureaucracy, paperwork, control, left-brained kind of things, they don't see you as a noble and sacred child of the universe, a continuation of the Big Bang, made of the exact same ratios of nitrogen, oxygen, carbon, and all the other elements as a sun, as a black hole, as a nebula, as a comet. You're made of star stuff. And this isn't like, ooh, Venus, starseed, love child. This is science, you know? It's a great video by Neil deGrasse Tyson. He is the leader of the international scientist pot cult. He took over from Carl Sagan, another famous smoker. You're not free, unfortunately. I mean, you are free. I mean, you are free inside. You are always free. But governments, police, secret services, don't consider you as such. And it's very clear now, with the incredible militarization of the police, both in Britain and in America, that changes are coming. And the biggest threats, and I actually sat on a bus next to a very high-ranking policeman who recognized me from my videos. This was briefly after the royal wedding arrest that was, shown by The Guardian and The Independent. So it got seen by a good few 100,000 people, including this senior policeman. And he had a dossier on him. He was traveling on the London Underground, the tube, and it was all about civil insurrection and unrest. And he was familiar with my work, and we both commented rather funnily on how it was quite ironic that we meet each other on the London Underground. So what I did was I pulled out a Molotov cocktail out of my bag, smashed it over his head. As he soaked the gasoline fumes, I lit him, did a big slogan and ran to the other carriage. No? Don't believe me? Don't believe that bullshit? No, I shook his hand and carried on with my day. But really, it's important to come back to basics here. Basic thing. Your bloodline, because you're alive right now watching this video, is traceable, perfectly traceable through your parents, your grandparents, your great-grandparents, all the way back to the genesis of life on Earth. We don't know how that started. We have no idea. Science has no idea. Religion, organized religion, has no idea. Sometimes if you get in a quiet enough state, or if you take the right psychedelics, you can kind of figure it out, but when you sober up, you have no idea. So everyday humanity has no idea how life began. You are rather special in this universe. Our light rays, the radio waves that we've sent out from Earth, have traveled about 100 years. So 100 light years from Earth. And when you think that that's not even the nearest star, that's not even that's like, if you think of the Milky Way as a massive disk like this, the radio waves of Earth have traveled a tiny pinprick. So there may be billions of civilizations in our galaxy, but the relative nature of Einsteinian space-time means that we have not contacted them and they haven't contacted us. Or who knows if their radio waves are pulsating through the Earth, but we are like earthworms to them. Maybe they are 10 billion years more advanced than us and they view us the same way that we would view an earthworm. And as I'm stood on grass and moving my feet gently, that may mimic the rain, the vibrations, and I might even be able to show you an earthworm and have that analogy physically right there in front of you. But no. I didn't really have a very, very strict idea of what I was going to say, so let me just end by saying that the only way you can remain human, I'm not saying remain special, everyone's special, which negates the idea of specialness. The only way you can remain human and true to what you are and who you are is to obviously don't react to a point where you get yourself shot or killed or, beaten over the head and given brain damage by a policeman on a protest, which has happened. His name was Archie, happened a few years ago in London. But the only real answer you can give to government bureaucrats, what Kafka in his book The Trial called the beetle-faced bureaucrats. I like that, beetle-faced. And did you know that there's more species of beetle on this planet than of any other animal on the planet? So God had a fetish for beetles, funnily enough. Beetle this, beetle that. The most popular car in history was a Beetle. How's that? The only way you can really remain true to yourself when being confronted and barked at by a policeman in uniform or a member of the government, say you're on the phone to some government agency trying to get something organized, the Home Office, the Department of Work and Pensions, Her Majesty's Revenue and Customs. You know that when you come through the airport and they tear open your bag and they find an extra carton of cigarettes, which you could actually cause an insurrection. What's the word? Sedition? You could fuck up the government with that extra carton of cigarettes. So it's just as well you've got men in funny uniform with crowns on their lapels taking those cigarettes off you. Let's just get to it. Okay, I'll be the official from government or policeman. Rah, 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 rah. And you basically just have to say, I'm sorry, but fuck you. I own myself. We both happen to be born into a system where people's insanity before us, Mr. Officer or Mr. or Mrs. Bureaucrat, has led you to believe, because everything's so complicated, that you actually have any authority over me. I know that because I will deny you the authority, you will use physical violence, but my job as an incredible interstellar traveler, as an interstellar anthropologist, is to force you to basically give up the illusion of freedom. In Britain we have this fairy tale that you're free, you've got free speech. Look up something called a D notice on the press. What is a D notice? Look that up. See how free the British press actually are. So where was I? I appreciate your small-minded attempts to control me. I appreciate that you are running two programs at the same time. One of them is a DNA-based program, very materialistic, reductionist materialist. The other one is a more complicated software that you're able to be self-aware, conscious, and you're able to abstract many thoughts and also to try and predict my behavior. But on the kind of DNA one, I know you're playing out your dominance thing. I am prey. You've put on this uniform, the Stanford Prison Experiment by Zimbardo. Zambardo? Someone help me out here. Put it in the comments section. Who ran the Stanford Prison Experiment? It shows that because of the way you're dressed, because of the very nature of this theatrical presentation, you think that you own me, that you can actually do what thou willst. But if we were a few thousand years ago and I was a barbarian in Germania and you were a solitary or a small group of Roman centurions, I would not just say, oh God, yeah, there's a few laws here. Let me just place down my weapons and go with you to Rome to be pulled apart by lions in the Colosseum. No, you'd fight them to the death, but we're all disarmed. What are you going to do? So basically all you can do is use your mind and say, fuck you, officer. I'm sorry, but I've been pushed around a lot of times. You're going to throw the handcuffs on. You're going to ruin my day, but don't be under any illusion that any part of me, mentally, physically, spiritually, consents to this. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed my rant. I'm radio micing it so I don't have to be right up to the camera. And that there is a beautiful building. Now let's go back to the future. Back to the future. Oh, I have a, where is it? I can do this.